Okay, the first question is, Dr. Hans, when did you start your breeding program, and what inspired you to begin at that time?
I started my breeding program in 1968, and I was inspired because I was visiting the Elzara Arabian horse stud at that time and saw all their breeding stock during several visits.
That's really fascinating. The other question is, what were the main factors you focused on when you're choosing your foundation mares and stallions, and have your standards changed or evolved since then?
I was working at that time with the Ministry of Agriculture in Egypt, and the person, he was my contact man, was Dr. Amin Zahir. Dr. Amin Zahir was in the same time the breeding advisor from the Eldara stud. And he was very helpful and very willing to teach me and to help me in my choice.
Okay, that's very insightful. The third one is, what are the main qualities that define the ideal horse for your stud?
I was learning from Dr. Zahir and had myself a lot of experience in genetic. That the female line and the dam and the mother is the base of any good breeding work. Because if you have not a good female line, not good Arabian mares to begin with, you have not a long-term success. Because it is very difficult to change the structure and the feature of mare. It's very much fixed in the genetic system. Therefore, I was studying very well all the different families in Egypt, and then finally I decided to pick out of 3 families each time one good filly. And these 3 fillies are still the base of my breeding program until today. I did not change at all. And they proved to be very successful.
Wonderful. That's a piece of wisdom for every breeder to remember. If I may continue from there, Dr. Hans, do you consider show championships as true measure of the quality of your breeding program, or do you see them more as a matter of personal taste and preference?
I did not get this question properly.
Again, do you consider the show championships as a measure of the quality or not?
Show championship is a totally different matter. I think the show champion of today is a modern development which followed out of the EKO system. The EKO at the time, in the 80s, and I was very much instrumental in this matter. We were creating a standard. We were creating a standard of an Arabian horse, which was also orientated on the Arab horse as it was understood at that time. And we are judging today all the horses with that standard. But what is the standard? The standard is a kind of a artificial structure which were made or considered by people who were considered to be knowledgeable enough to form such a standard. This is different than you have horse as such as it is presenting itself. The Egyptian horse I'm reading are not following a standard. They are following my own imagination, which is orientated on the experience I made in all these years. I've seen so many horses and judged a lot of horses. So, and I know the Egyptian breeding, then the sixes, and followed it very closely. And then I choose the horse according to my taste.
It's a valuable perspective, Dr.
Or
Heinz.
let me continue. There was never a standard for the Arabian horse until Ekao was created. There were a lot of varieties which were selected by the different breeders in history. And the Bedouin didn't have the standard. Bavona didn't have a standard. El Zara didn't have a standard. It was a group of horses which were representing the Arabian breed. And within this group was enormous variation from good to bad. And one would choose out of this group, out of this population, one could choose, I could choose, and everyone did before the same. What do you think is the one who suits your purpose? If I'm a person who was orientated for riding, liked riding very much, I would pick a horse which had all good riding points. If I was a racehorseman, I would pick a horse which has race quality. And if I was a horse lover and a little bit a romantical man and a little bit orientated on art, I would pick a different horse. Maybe I would pick a more delicate horse, maybe a more fine horse. But all these are Arabians. A standard is new, and today show business which is useful, and I'm totally accepting it. This is a different thing. It's an artificial creation, but it has a base, and the base is the average understanding from a person what is a good horse. The name standard itself expresses.
Doctor, you mentioned the Bedouin. Bedouin, maybe they have their own standard. The horse is a way of escape from dangers. Horse is the way to invade another tribe. Okay, so Bedouin,
Yes.
they have their own standard. They said, I mean the power and the performance of the horse was number one major on breeding horses in the Arabia, in the Bedouin tribe, isn't it?
You know well that there were very different strains and families always. And I think this horse, if you go back to the Bedouin, it was a product of both. It was a product of what the people were choosing as such, and was offered to them by the environment. The horse, all this livestock living in the desert was very much influenced by the environment. If we had a very nice, rich climate and rich food in the north, in Syria, is a stronger, bigger horse. If you were breeding horses in Saudi Arabia, you had a smaller horse because you had not good conditions to feed it and to grow it. And you know very well, if an animal, even as a baby, did not get enough food, influencing all their life, it will be a development. And the men could not do much about it. They had to, they were themselves slaves from the environment. So there was a big difference. To create a standard at that time, I think the word standard doesn't fit. There's not a standard. It's more, yeah, it is a chance. It is a chance what you could get. I would not call this a standard. I would call this more a personal taste. Or I would call it, you have to take what the nature offers you, and then you make the best out of it.
Yes, that was a beautiful said and a perfect lead to the next topic I wanted to discuss. Dr. Hans, some Arabian horse names are sometimes avoided or not preferred by certain breeders due to old or unclear stories and circumstances that affected those horses' reputations. What's your view or comment on this matter?
I don't know if again I have to ask back. Can you repeat it? I cannot get it quickly. My telephone
Okay,
don't give it properly.
I will repeat it slowly.
Yeah.
Some Arabian horse names are sometimes avoided or not preferred by certain breeders due to old or unclear stories and circumstances that affected those horses' reputations. What's your view or comment on this matter?
I know the question, I know the problem very well, and I must say to pick out a certain horse based on the pedigree, on the history, I think it is not very wise. And it is not very wise. I think these horses, which are still refused today here and there, I think there are very, very few people who have seen the original from the original animal on which this mistake is hanging. Mainly, I've seen some of them. And first of all, I can say I would not choose them because they were not nice. They would not fit to my taste. This would be one point. But later on, when these horses were bred, and now we have the fifth, sixth, seventh generation, and they were selecting for whatever reason, the selection point you are looking for is the main important one. And what was 6, 7, 8 generations before doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It is just diluted, if you went to say so, because these thoughts would be anyhow not be wanted very much. I've seen, as I said before, horses like Nasrallah. I've seen him, maybe you mean this one, which is on the focus all the time. It was not a nice horse. And his babies were not nice either. I've seen many. I would never choose such a horse. But when people at that time, there were a lot of people who didn't know what is a good horse. They took it anyhow. They bought an Egyptian horse. At that time, they offer the availability of Egyptian horses in the 60s and 70s was very, very small. And nobody looked so much if it's so much beautiful or less beautiful or more correct or less correct. They wanted an Egyptian. And only later, when there was more animal on the market, then they start and look deeper into it, and they find this is bleeding more and this is bleeding less. By the way, there was a lot of research done in this respect, but I think, and I know, a lot of this research did not come out with a result which is really satisfying and which could clear the case. Today, we have other means. We have the DNA. If the DNA would be applied earlier or could be applied, we know many things. We applied DNA is applied, as everybody knows, in checking the racehorses, not all the racehorses. All these racehorses are not pure Arabian. The majority of all thoroughbred. We know this, and we accept it. There's no way to change it. And it's maybe not easy to live with it for somebody who is a Puritan, but it's a fact, and I think we have to take it like it is. But I think in the horse breeding, as we do it as Arabian, I think the stud books, which are available now, which are published by Bao, these are the documents one should rely on, and one should not rely on this other yab. One should not do this.
Yes. Engineer Muhammad, do you have any add?
Regarding the same point?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, regarding the same point, can we take Wahoo stud books as a reference for the Asil Arabians? Is this true, or we have to do our homework to examine some questionable horses, like in some breeds? Yani, we know that in this stud book there is some thoroughbred mare or whatever. Can we just take it as a granted, yani? Do you think this?
I think when you are very sure that there is a thoroughbred, it's up to you if you can live with this idea or not. And definitely, I would personally also not like a mare where I'm really convinced this is not a pure Arabian. I belong to these people who like the history very, very much. I think this is even a point I would make. I'm missing now that the Arabian horse today, many people forgot completely that this breed is the oldest breed worldwide, and it has a very, very high value on this, but this is in a way ignored. And but if I would be very sure this horse is not pure in the sense we know it's a mixture with other horses, but it's not easy to prove. You can prove it by DNA. If you want to know, you have to go to university and then you check it. But mostly people have not the courage to do that. And then if you find out that it is not pure, again, maybe you like it and continue, or you don't like it and you stop it and do something else. I think we have today, we are much more realistic, much more practical than 50 years before. All these stories where they're lion bashing and here and whatever done, it's a little bit of subjectivity. A lot is also jealousy. There are many emotion involved. So one should take all the emotion out and go to the take a drop of blood and go to the laboratory, and then you know where you are. I think it is simple like that. But many people maybe don't do this. It's not expensive anymore. It used to be expensive, but not anymore. So I mean, I'm not that person who goes who is walking on the ground, which is scientifically not solid at all. If one had not the means to do it, okay, we have to take it. But as soon as there's the possibility to check to be sure, should take the tool and do it. I checked all. Every 8 years I take DNA samples from all my horses for different reasons. But also this includes the point if there are any mixture in this all yet or no. But I'll do it to know all the parental relationship between my horses. Because I'll go too far. I'm sorry. But don't believe too much on pedigree. Don't believe too much on pedigree. Believe the pedigree is a very simple and a very easy thing to play with. I think one should really, if somebody wants to be sure and happy and quiet and sleep well, go and check my DNA and get a scientific answer and you feel better.
Yes.
I think this is the job of not individuals. This is the job of some organization, like Asil Club. What is your relation with Asil Club? What do you think? Is there any cooperation happened between you and Asil Club before?
No, I'm not believing on the Asil Club at all. I'm not believing at all. I was in the beginning, I didn't know what it was, and then I was a member, but after 1 year I left, and I did not like it. I think if somebody wants to be in it and believe on it, it's up to him. I'm not a follower of this idea at all.
Good.
And good answer. Dr. Hans, yes, do you have anything to say, Mohammed?
Well, I want to ask about Safir. Why you? I mean, what is the story of Safir? Did you send him with Aisha to Qatar? Dr. Sheikh Abdulaziz did not ask to buy him or whatever. Why? I mean, you let Safir go as a colt.
This is a good question. Abdulaziz was, when he came to visit me, he was very impressed by all the offspring which I had from Halim Shah. Halim Shah was, I can really say, my discovery in America. I also him though he was just 2 years old. He was not a proven stallion yet at all, much too young. But he looked so fantastic. He made such a strong impression on me. And he had a horse who had all the points which I was looking for in my breeding. The Egyptian horse, most of the Egyptian horse Also my 3 fillies, they had not that perfect body, what people are looking for today. My horse had a lot of type. I was maybe one of the first one who looked for a very elegant head, for a very elegant but still natural head. And when I brought my 3 horses to Germany, there was not such a head at all in Germany. No. All 3 had a nice head. Maybe not the head what it's judged today. That's again another matter of discussion. I like to have natural features which not exaggerated. But coming back to it, I was lucky. I had a very nice son of Halim Shah, which was Salah al-Din, and I had four mares from Halim Shah, and 3 of them, Sheikh Abdulaziz bought them. 3 of them, and one had a little cold by foot, only 3 weeks old. And then Sheikh Abdulaziz asked me, can I buy the mare with the foal? And you think the foal is good? And then I told him, buy this goat, buy the mama with the mare. I think it is a very nice colt. And he bought, and I should have not done it. I should have kept him. I should have not done this. I should have sold him the mare and kept the mama, but I'm very happy Sophia did in the end very well in Rajasthan.
Yes, actually, we are very lucky that you sold that colt, because he became then a legion sire in the Middle East.
Yeah, I did not expect that, but anyhow, he looked very good, and I'm happy Abdulaziz was successful with his choice.
Yes. Did you get your answer, Mohammed? Okay. Dr. Hans, I would like to say that we as Middle Eastern breeders often mention your name among ourselves as a symbol of excellency and trusted quality. So we have a final question that what's the philosophy and vision behind your stud? In other words, how would you like people to know and remember you?
ممكن ترجع تعيد سؤالك بس يكون النت واضح والاتصال كويس. مهندس محمد عوض أبو خالد موجود. Again عبد الله.
Hello.
Again.
Hello.
Can you hear us now, Doctor?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Doctor.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, I'll say first that we as Middle Eastern breeders often mention your name among ourselves as a symbol of excellence and trusted quality. So I have another question regardless this point. What's the philosophy and vision behind your stud? In other words, how would you like people to know and remember you?
I don't know. I don't have a great philosophy behind it. But first of all, I think I'm a man who's very, very close to nature in principle. And I like to be with my horses as I can all the time. I would not like This is why I don't send my horses to training and to the shows, because I want them with me. And I know it was very well, and they are for me a kind of companion. It is this way. But sure, I make effort and make them look nice. I make effort. They correspond to the taste I have. And I'm also, I must say, I'm admirer, you will be surprised. I like the Arab world a lot. And I was spending all
We
my
like
life,
you too,
more or
Doctor.
less, all my life in Arabia. And I know how this world is functioning, and I know how it looks. And I want that my horses here are giving a little bit of this impression I have from the Arab world. I have a piece of Arab world in my own stable, and I don't. Otherwise, this is my philosophy, if I have any.
That's a beautiful and valuable perspective, Doctor. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us. It was truly inspiring to hear your journey and your passion for Arabian horse. We really appreciate your time and the knowledge you have shared today. It's always an honor to connect with breeders who carry the legacy and spirit of the Arabian horse with such dedication and love. Thank you very much for your time, Doctor.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much.
All the best, and enjoy your horses. I do mine.